Thanks for joining us on Plus TV Africa. I'm Felicity Ezewike. Mobs looted shops and burnt down properties in Ethiopia's eastern Somali region on Saturday as unrest gained momentum and spread across the province following deployment of soldiers. On Friday evening, Ethiopian troops entered the regional capital Jijjiga in an apparent attempt by central authorities to arrest regional officials, residents told reporters. On Saturday, soldiers traded fire with members of the local government security forces. Violence has since broken out in at least 4 towns, with mobs attacking civilians and looting property. Ethnic non-Somalis are the ones being targeted. The region's security forces are collaborating with them, one resident told Reuters. At least 2 Ethiopian Orthodox churches have been burnt down. Shops, hotels and banks remain closed, the witness added. Egypt says its security forces have killed at least 52 suspected militants in recent days, northern Sinai Peninsula. The military said in a statement on Sunday that another 49 suspected militants have been arrested. According to the military, 26 hideouts and weapons depots were destroyed, 64 explosive devices dismantled. The military says airstrikes destroyed 32 vehicles containing weapons and ammunition in the western desert and in the south as well. The Uganda's People's Defense Forces have arrested one of their own officers for shooting 3 people dead in Gulu. Brigadier Richard Karamira, the UPDF spokesman, said in a statement that the force's 4th Division Commander, Brigadier Emmanuel Kayesige, has ordered the immediate arrest of Lance Corporal Odaga Geoffrey, the soldier who misused his weapon last night in an unlawful shooting. This incident, which led to the death of 3 revelers in a bar in Gulu, is very regrettable, said Brigadier Karamira. He added that investigations have commenced by a team of UPDF and Ugandan police force into the circumstances surrounding this incident, while condoling with families of the victims. A total of 43 cases of Ebola hemorrhagic fever, 13 of which have been confirmed, have been recorded since the beginning of the new epidemic in the Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo, declared on August 1. This is according to a report published on Saturday by Congo's Ministry of Health. As in the previous epidemic, vaccination will be an integral part of the response, said the ministry. It also said, we know there have been 3 cases in Beni Hospital that are positive and another 6 in Mangina, where the epidemic is reported to have started close to Ituri province. According to the Director General in the fight against the disease, Dr. Njoloko Tabwe Bate, these 9 confirmed cases are in addition to the 4 that tested positive on the 6 samples tested on July 31st. Some students from St. Gabriel Academy in Mwigwi were traveling back from Mombasa, where they had gone for a study tour, when their bus was involved in a head-on collision with a lorry at Kanginga Bridge, about 3 kilometers from Mwagi town on the Taka-Garissa Road at around 11 p.m. President Uhuru Kenyatta has sent his condolences to the families of 9 pupils who died in the road crash that occurred on Saturday night. In his message to the parents and guardians of the students, President Kenyatta said it was unfortunate that the lives of innocent pupils were lost. It is indeed sad and unfortunate that we lost those we look forward to secure the future of our great nation, Kenyatta is quoted as saying. And from South Africa, Cape Town Mayor Patricia de Lille leaves office on October 31. The Democratic Alliance on Sunday announced also that all internal disciplinary charges against her have been dropped. The agreement follows months of internal fighting as senior party members sought to oust her over her leadership style. De Lille narrowly survived a vote of no confidence in February because of the support of ANC councillors. But in April, an internal DA caucus motion of no confidence prevailed and she was stripped of her party membership, a decision that was set aside by the High Court in Cape Town in June. The army confirmed they have arrested a wanted Boko Haram suspect Majilawan at Banki, Borno. According to a statement by Brigadier General Texas Chukwu, the suspect is believed to be number 96 on the wanted list earlier published by the army. Chukwu said Lawan was apprehended after he infiltrated into an internally displaced persons camp in the area. Meanwhile, Chukwu said troops had neutralized 2 terrorists at a Malari village, also in Borno, during an ambush, while others fled into the bush. He said 10 bicycles were recovered from the terrorists during the encounter. In a similar development, he said troops had dislodged armed militia from their camp at Banjimba Ako Axis in Guma local government area of Benue State. Nigeria's Bar Association has tasked military personnel deployed to curb the violence being perpetrated by armed bandits and cattle rustlers in Zamfara State to ensure they operate with acceptable global standards. The NBA says it will embark on a fact-finding mission to ensure the rights of Nigerians are protected during the ongoing military operations. About 1,000 combined team of security personnel were recently deployed to the state to bring an end to months of violence and killings. Our Plus TV correspondent Amadin Uyi files in this report.
An aerial view of Zamfara, northwest Nigeria. Air Force personnel also had a quick response group in Gusau, the Zamfara state capital. The inspection of a quarter guard by troops, part of a joint military team deployed to bring an end to months of violence and bloodshed by armed bandits and cattle rustlers within the state. The Air Operations Commander, Air Vice Marshal Okonak Pasa, while insisting his troops are ready for deployment, however disclosed that most of the air assets will be operating from neighboring Katsina State.
I think it's going to be a difficult time for them. It's an air operation meant to flush out the criminals in Zamfara State and its environs. But we cannot take our assets there because we do not have a place to really land there and protect all of them. So Katsina happens to be the best place for that, and that is why we are here.
He disclosed that all aircraft needed were already on ground waiting for instructions to commence operations.
The Alpha Jet here, we have the EC-135, we have the Gusta 109, and we have the ISR platform, which is the DA-42, and we still have MI-35 at Gusau.
Amnesty International claims about 371 people have been killed since January, and dozens of villages sacked by armed bandits and cattle rustlers in Zamfara this year. While many believe the deployment of troops will curb the violence, there are some who are worried about human rights abuses by security personnel. One of such groups, Nigeria's Bar Association, says it is watching events closely.
We have always engaged with the police and the military in terms of their responsibilities under the Constitution, in terms of maintaining peace and order and ensuring security of lives and property within the context of the laws and the rules of engagement, and ensuring that human rights are protected. So obviously these are the kind of issues we'll be looking out for. There's a framework both under national and international law to hold people accountable for what is going on. And if indeed we find that there are people who are culpable or who can be held accountable, then we want to point to those people and demand that action be taken.
While Amnesty International insists government has done little to protect rural communities in Zamfara, it is hoped that this latest operation will bring succor to the troubled residents. Amadin Uyi, Plus TV Africa.
Former Governor of Akwa Ibom State, Godwin Akpabio, paid President Muhammadu Buhari a visit in London. This followed alleged plans to defect to the ruling All Progressive Congress. It is believed that the former minority leader will be leaving the People's Democratic Party this week, as disclosed by a presidential aide. According to the Special Assistant on Prosecution to President Muhammadu Buhari, Oki Obnobla, Akpabio will be received into the APC on Thursday by the Vice President, Yemi Osinbajo. The presidency on Sunday appealed to the National Assembly to reconvene as urgent matters pending before it may affect the running of Nigeria and matters affecting Nigerians. The appeal was made by the senior special advisor to the President on National Assembly matters, Senator Itai Nang, at a news conference in Lagos. President of the Senate, Dr. Bukola Saraki, announced the adjournment at plenary following a motion on the siege on Saraki and the Deputy Senate President Ike Ekwenemadu by security operatives. The Senate is expected to reconvene on September 25. Some of the pending urgent issues before the adjournment included the approval of a supplementary budget to fund the 2018 budget, the 2019 general elections, and several key appointments for the EFCC, ICPC, Deputy CBN Governor, and ANCOM, among others. On the defections in the House, Enang explained that it had nothing to do with the performance of President Muhammadu Buhari and that the issues for defection were personal and domestic to the political actors. According to him, the defections are perennial and usually happens in election years where politicians look for platforms to achieve their aspirations. The federal government and the United Nations Institute for Training and Research has signed a Memorandum of Understanding, MOU, to empower and train former Niger Delta agitators. Special Advisor to the President on Niger Delta and Coordinator Amnesty Program, Professor Charles Dokubo, and Country Representative of the Institute Office in Nigeria, Dr. Lawrence Bombs, signed the agreement at the weekend. Speaking afterwards, Dokubo said the 3-year initiative was to fast-track the training and empowerment of former Niger Delta agitators enlisted in the Presidential Amnesty Program. The agreement covers training in subsea welding, agribusiness, seafaring, as well as empowerment and job placements for trained delegates. The presidential aide explained that job placement, which is a critical factor in the reintegration component, had not been successful in the past. He expressed optimism that the partnership with the institute will yield positive results. The Federal University of Technology, Owerri, Futo, has reinstated 9 student activists expelled in February last year for their involvement in a protest against tuition fee hike. In a recall letter issued to each of the affected students on Friday, the university said it had reserved its decision during a meeting of the Senate in July. The recall is subject to the paying of surcharges and signing of an undertaking, along with the apparent consent to be of good behavior for the rest of their stay in the university. Some of those affected are Collins Ubonna, Elvis Onoha, Ebuka Odunze, and Kenneth Megwa. The students had approached the court to press for their reinstatement before the school pardoned them. The fees hike that triggered the demonstration on February 17, 2017 was not reviewed, despite the protest that got the students expelled. The World Health Organization has said that the rising global incidence of cancer should worry African countries, especially Nigeria, where the disease is most prevalent. In Nigeria, about 10,000 cancer deaths are recorded annually, while 250,000 new cases are recorded yearly. It is also worrisome that only 70% of African countries are said to have sufficiently funded cancer control programs, while less than half of all countries in the world have functional plans to prevent the disease and provide treatment and care to patients. With regards to this scourge, health practitioners have emphasized on the urgent need for more awareness in the society. Our correspondent, Susan Jasper, files in this report.
Cancer claims about 9 million people yearly globally, with an estimated 80,000 of that number being Nigerians. The World Health Organization is calling on specialists to pay attention to early diagnosis, as most cancers are curable if detected early.
Cancer, simply put, is abnormal growth. We like to encourage women to do self-breast examination, even without any risk factor or any indication for it. It's advisable to regularly check for lumps in your breast. We screen for prostate cancer with using the prostate-specific antigen. Common symptoms you can find in somebody who you're suspecting for prostate cancer. One of which is most common is difficulty in passing urine. Most cancers, almost all cancers, you can't really pinpoint a particular cause for it. If not, you would say, okay, you should avoid this totally. You know, it's a mixture of genetics, environmental factors, and lifestyle.
The Nigerian cancer ratio is 4 in 5, one of the worst in the world, with 240 Nigerians dying every day from cancer, with breast and prostate cancer having the higher number. Nigeria is, however, still lagging behind in the awareness of early detection of cancer, with one major reason being cost implication. OMP 21, Lagos Business School alumni set, is a group of 32 entrepreneurs who took it upon themselves to embark on a CSR event, which includes free screening services for breast and prostate cancer, as well as a health walk to create awareness on cancer in the society.
I'm a proud member of OMP 21, and obviously we decided as a group to sponsor a CSR where we bring awareness to female breast cancer and the fact that most black women or most African women older than 40 are not aware of their body.
Screening as a man does not portray that you are weak.
Generally, it is important that women have this healthy habit of eating right, exercising, going for checkups.
With a change in the demography of cancer, which is no longer an ailment of the aged, the need for regular screening cannot be overemphasized. Susan Jasper, Plus TV Africa.
When we return, we'll bring you updates on the alleged drone assassination attempt on Venezuelan President Lula da Silva's intention to run in Brazil's October presidential election, and much more. Stay with us. Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro says he has survived an assassination attempt involving explosive drones. Mr. Maduro was speaking at a military event in Caracas when the alleged attack occurred. Live footage of his speech shows the president suddenly looking upward, startled, and dozens of soldiers running away. Mr. Maduro has blamed Colombia for the attack, something denied by Bogota as a baseless accusation. 7 soldiers were injured and several people were later arrested, the Venezuelan authorities have said. And from Brazil, we hear the Workers' Party PT has officially nominated its founder, former President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva, for the upcoming October presidential election in a largely symbolic move as he is in prison. On Saturday, some 2,000 members of the leftist party gathered for a convention in Sao Paulo and declared him their candidate to rerun for office in the October presidential election. Lula was the 35th president of Brazil from 2003 to 2011 with an approval rating of above 80% and has been serving a 12-year prison sentence since April after he was found guilty. Under Brazilian electoral law, politicians are not authorized to run for office within 8 years of being found guilty of a crime. The 72-year-old veteran politician dismisses his conviction as part of a plot to prevent him from returning to power. Almost 400 migrants were rescued in the Mediterranean this weekend as they attempted to make the crossing from Morocco to Spain, Spanish rescue services have said. While the overall numbers of migrants reaching Europe by sea is down from the peak in 2015, Spain has witnessed a steady increase in sea arrivals that began more than a year ago and has surged in recent months. Through Saturday, 395 people were rescued from 9 boats in the Strait of Gibraltar and the Alboran Sea, the 2 principal sea crossings to Spain, the Spanish Coast Guard said on Twitter. Up next is our business news. Stay with us. total loans of about $3.1 billion has been borrowed by the current and past administration led by current President Muhammadu Buhari and former President Goodluck Jonathan. The loans are for the construction of the standard gauge Lagos-Ibadan rail line. The Minister of Transportation, Rotimi Amechi, said $1.6 billion was borrowed by President Buhari. He said the previous administration borrowed $500 million for aviation, which covers the 4 international airports in Abuja, Lagos, Kano, and Port Harcourt, which was a loan secured from China. The minister also said the Ibadan-Kaduna Railway project would be constructed by the China Civil Aviation Construction Corporation. He, however, said the federal government was funding the reconstruction of the Itakpe-Ajokuta-Warri rail project, which will cost the government $100 million in excess. To support government's current diversification drive and mitigate the impact of oil prices, the French government is increasing its agribusiness ties with Nigeria. The French government recently established a Franco-Nigerian business club to boost business relations between both countries. The long-term benefits expected of French President Macron's visit to Nigeria last month is a dramatic shift from bilateral trade characterized by majorly petroleum products to one where other sectors, particularly the agricultural and creative sectors. Following the president's visit, Friends of Nigeria, a French-based organization, has also announced its plans to launch an entrepreneurship support program for SMEs in Nigeria, which will be championed majorly by Nigerian entrepreneurs running successful business in Europe. Unemployment rate in Nigeria, according to the National Bureau of Statistics, stood at 18.80% in the third quarter of 2017. Like the old saying, scarcity breeds creativity. Some individuals, in the midst of the seemingly unenabling environment, have set up small-scale businesses, which requires a fraction as startup capital. In a bid to cater for themselves and their families, the businesses now enable renders services to individuals. Our business correspondent Irene Ubani files in this report.
Maize, also known as corn, happens to be a gracious edible delight for some people, irrespective of their social class, whether eating boiled or roasted. Although it is a seasonal cereal grain, a number of individuals take advantage of its seasonal availability as a means of livelihood.
I started this corn this year, but I don't do business since more than 10 years now. Okay, I'm selling small provision before I added the corn inside. Because of that one, no much gain inside. So I started corn, at least that one is helping me and my children. At least if I buy corn 15,000, I figure like 18,000. If my sister is going market for me, so if she should come, she will bring it for me. But sometimes I'm going by myself. When the season of corn is going, I start another one. At least yam and plantain and pomo. This is what I can use to train my children, me and my husband. So we are managing for ourselves. We there they manage, nobody is disturbing me.
For patronizers of these roadside corn sellers, some prefer eating corn, which helps to keep the skin moisturized, with coconut, pear, or for the full nourishing experience, would rather have them all together. Just behind Mrs. Chibuzo was Aminat, who is also popular in the area for her fast-moving noodles business.
I have a business I'm doing before, but I don't have interest in it. So I just think of selling the indomies. So I know that it will be, as in the money that I will make there will be okay for me to live. My first business I'm doing, that's why I get the capital to do this one. I sell bread and egg, indomie and egg, and yam and egg. So aside from my capital, I do make 5,000 for profit. I have a lot of customers, different people, well-educated person. I don't know how to call the well-educated person. Different people shine shots. I have a lot of customers. A lot of people came here to disturb us, like this guy, all this tax force, and council people also. They used to disturb us. That where we are is the main road.
While the country is still plagued with issues of unemployment, some individuals have taken it upon themselves to set up small businesses to take care of themselves and their families in their little way. Aaron Bani reporting for Plus TV Africa.
Still ahead on Plus TV Africa News is a roundup on entertainment and sports. We're back in a moment. Stay with us.
And in entertainment, Nigerian female singer Chidinma is in trouble with promoter Romaric Boko, popularly known as Air Dubai, over an alleged breach of contract for a show in Abidjan, Côte d'Ivoire. According to reports, the promoter Boko said Chidinma agreed to the terms of the contract and as such paid her 800,000 naira in advance and also gave her manager Rashid 200,000 naira. According to the contract, it was agreed that Air Dubai Entertainment will pay Chidinma 1.8 million naira to perform at Mix Nightclub in Abidjan. The event was supposed to have taken place on Friday, the 27th of July, 2018. Baba, Jeremiah Gyang, Wajay and others are set to storm Kaduna for Eargasm charity concert organized by Fusion Nigeria, a youth and community organization. Fusion Nigeria's team leader, Nentawe Gomia, said they have a commitment to developing resilience in the lives of the youths and have partnered with the Lagos-based Bulkwide Media Network to make the concert happen. According to Gomia, Bulkwide Media Network have used the Eargasm for charity music concert to raise funds for deserving organizations and to impact the community. Last year, it helped raise funds for internally displaced persons in Abuja, and this year's edition is geared towards raising funds to support the Fusion's football tournament festivals for peace building in northern Nigeria. And that's it on entertainment, the very best in sports, right after this.
Thanks, Tokumbo. And in sports, second-seeded Italian Fabio Fognini cruised past top-seeded Argentine João Martins del Potro 6-4, 6-2 to claim the Alberto Mexicano de Tennis Mifel title on Saturday in Los Cabos, Mexico. Fognini gave up an opening break and fell in a 3-0 hole, but was nearly flawless from there, starting with a streak of 5 consecutive games. He converted his second set point and then broke Del Potro twice early in the second set to grab a 5-1 advantage and wrap up the match in 79 minutes. Ranked 15th in the world, the 31-year-old Fognini claimed his third title of the year and 8th of his career and first ever on hard courts. He has never ranked higher than 13th in the world in his career. And in basketball, National Basketball Association stars graced the Sun Arena in Pretoria, South Africa for the third edition of the NBA Africa game that sees top African players in the association take on their counterparts from around the world. This year's NBA Africa game was played in support of the Nelson Mandela Foundation as part of the 2018 Basketball Without Borders Africa Camp festivities. All-Star Philadelphia center Joel Embiid scored 24 points but could not inspire Team Africa to victory over Team World as they slipped to a 96-92 defeat. Los Angeles Clippers small forward Danilo Gallinari led the scoring for Team World with 23 points to go with 8 rebounds and 3 assists that earned him the Most Valuable Player award. With this win, Team World has now won all 3 editions of the NBA Africa game, taking it in 2015, 2017, and now